Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's show. This is definitely the Roundtable Talk, and I'm your host, Christopher Unk Jones. Of course, you know I have co-hosts. They may tip in here quite shortly, but we do apologize for the delay in coming on this evening. So please forgive us. Charge it to our head, not our heart, or our tails, and not our souls. Okay. So of course, you know, today is Tuesday, May 7th, 2025. And as I said, I'm your co-host, Christopher Unk Jones. I have my co-host, Perry Busby, who may tip in, as well as the illustrious Dr. Catherine Campbell, who also may tip in. I know she did say she's getting prepared for citywide revival. I hope y'all ready for revival within yourselves. But yes. This week, our theme for the roundtable talk is School Ain't in Session. What happened to the promise of public education? Oh, and my co host, Dustin Harris, might tip in too. But as of right now, I'm the only one and I'm going to hold it down. um, Again, so our theme for this week is School Ain't in Session. What happened to the promise of public education? And our schools are bleeding from every direction. Kids ghosting classrooms, to teachers escaping the system, and the village too distracted to notice. So, of course, you know, we have a lot of things going on and around the education sector, whether it's on the federal level, and if you're here in the state of Texas, of course, you know that there is some issues on that front as well, especially when it comes to school vouchers, as well as on the local side, especially after the recent school board election. Okay, so on the national front, we definitely want to talk about um, ghost classrooms, burned out teachers, and the lies we keep telling ourselves. Of course, the title of this particular section of our discussion is If Education is the Key, Why Do We Keep Changing the Locks? What the White House, state capitals, and even our households won't admit. Our talking points, or your around the table talking points, is schools across the United States are reporting record level chronic absenteeism, not just for a few kids, but get this, y'all, millions of students are not attending schools. Teachers are quitting faster than we can replace them, not for better pay, but for peace of mind. We're seeing national debates on AI in classrooms and security protocols. But who's talking about trust, culture, or human connection? Um, and then also for your table discussions, parents say they're overwhelmed, kids say no one's listening, and politicians say wait until the next budget season. Our roundtable talk for, or our roundtable question for this evening is: Are we failing students, or are we just letting them get lost because it's easier than fixing what's broken? Our seeds of solutions for this week is invest in community-based mentorships with youth circles, not just test prep, fun wellness teams, not just school police, and create national pipelines for future educators starting in high school, exposing those high school students to education. Believe it or not, some might want to engage. Reference for our host is the National Center for Education Statistics and Chronic Absenteeism, as well as Education Week, teacher turnover reports. You could definitely find that information on on those websites. Also, if you do not know, if you do not know, um, the national on the national stage, the Department of Education, we might as well say, is no more. So, um, yeah, it's a little confusing for a lot of us here. Welcome, Dr. Campbell. It's good to see you,
Hello.
Queen.
Good evening. It's good to be here. I rushed to get here. I'm sorry I was late, but
Don't
I
be
had
sorry.
another obligation. I
Absolutely.
apologize. Yeah, I had another
Absolutely. I
obligation.
did relay that to everybody that you getting ready for citywide. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Yeah.
so everybody needs to go ahead and get ready for revival within themselves.
Amen.
And I'm just saying, I kind of, like I said, I knew you were gonna be tipping in a little behind schedule, but believe it or not, if is as you see, we're only 6 minutes in, so you didn't miss much because my big brother was out of there.
Okay. And you know what? I didn't even get to print my stuff.
Oh man.
I had a lot of good stuff too.
I already know. I already know. I already know.
Hmm.
So on our national topic, if education is the key, why do we keep changing the locks? Let's look at the big picture. The federal government calls education a national priority, but schools are understaffed, students are missing at record levels, and teachers, get this, teachers are walking away faster than ever. You got
Yeah.
politicians arguing about AI in classrooms while millions of kids aren't even showing up. You got federal budgets funding new tech, but not enough support staff, counselors, or cultural relevance in the curriculum. And it's not just about the system, it's about trust. Young people don't feel seen, parents feel powerless, and teachers are saying, I can't fix all this and keep my sanity too.
And
So
it
I
did not
asked,
just start today either. Because
correct,
you know
correct.
what? When my kids were in school, I was so gung ho. I was a young parent and just gung ho, ready to go and volunteer at the school, But I don't know if it came down from the superintendent that hit the principals and the principals hit the teachers, but they were mean to me. They were horrible. So much
Wow.
so that I wanted nothing to do with the school district. I don't even follow the school board, as I should right now, and I'm really not proud of myself for that fact, right? And I'm gonna do better with it. But I mean, they traumatized me to where I didn't want to volunteer with the school anymore.
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
So, like, the question that I have for the roundtable in particular are we failing students or just watching them disappear because it's easier than fixing what's broken?
Uh-oh.
I know. Go ahead, flip up to get them notes, Miss Cat. I know it's
You
in
know
your
what?
phone.
It's in my phone, but if I flip up, it's gonna cut me off of the screen, I think.
Well, I think we could still hear you. We just won't be able to see your beautiful face.
Okay, let me try it because I
Okay.
have some.
Okay, so we can't hear you. So like get your information and then once you come back, then we'll be able to hear you. But so the now look out. Hold on. The National Center for Education website, which is nces.ed.gov, is not coming up for some strange reason right now. And that's where I was gonna go. to get some more information, and it's tripping. You know how it go. Things don't make noise until, I mean, things make noise until you pull up at the oh, there we go. So we had to drop the rest of that. Okay, so National Center for Education Statistics, NCES, empowering education with accurate, timely, and nonpartisan statistical products. So check this out. Check out their website and look at their absenteeism. You'll be able to go to um, explore funding. You're able to use our work, which is publications and products, as well as what we do. But go to use our work, publication and products, go to data, reports, and resources. In their resource library, you can find a wealth of information. I definitely want you to be made privy to that, because the city of Beaumont, believe it or not, is also, their data is also included in that website. So go ahead, Miss Cat, you have the floor.
That's okay. I can't get my stuff on here.
Oh man,
I know. I'm so upset.
somebody hating Miss Cat.
I know. I know.
Man.
That's
Also
why I
a
like to have it
reference.
printed out.
I know, me too. Look, I'm not lying. I was,
You were ready to?
I was. I really you know, sometimes you gotta have your stuff on point, Miss Cat. We not
I
talking just
know.
random stuff. We talking, things that's
I
gonna help
get
our
it.
community. What's up, Dustin, man?
Hey,
What?
Dustin.
Well, that
Not much, bro. I'm glad you hopped on, right? Right as I was giving out the rest of the references for this evening show. But go ahead and lace us up a little bit on our roundtable question, which is: are we failing students, or are we just letting them get lost because it's easier than fixing what's actually broken?
well, my opinion could be a little different. Cause I tell my kids get through school so you can do what you want to do. Cause it is what it is. It's a necessary
Mm.
evil. So I don't think at this point ain't nobody failing these kids. They failing them damn selves. I'm tired of them. It's like you could do everything to get them to act right, but they still want to be a little sociopath.
But Dustin, you know what? I honestly believe that it starts when children, they you think that they don't truly understand, but I know my I have seen children have an evil eye in their look still laying in the little carrier. You understand what I'm saying? They'll look at a parent like, you better not touch me, you know?
Parents just slap the hell
And
out of
they
them.
should, but they don't. They laugh at it. And that's therein
Ah,
lies the
kill.
problem. Therein lies the problem.
So
You
what
see
you
what I'm
saying, Miss
saying?
Cat? So what you saying is we're not failing the students. We're not bending the sap while it's young.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I heard you say. And also I
Yeah.
heard Dustin say that um,
They're failing
clean,
themselves.
yeah, clean, cool, clean cut, and to the point was man, F these kids.
Basically,
Well, you know what? I don't want to say F these kids, because they are our future, whether we like it or not,
Absolutely, absolutely.
right? But
they not.
yes, they
Half of them gonna die off before we die.
facts. Because they shooting each
Dustin.
other up every day.
Man, so I mean, like, is it designed that way, y'all? I mean, like, what's the
Yeah,
reason? I mean, like, who? I
It,
mean, like,
it no, it's not designed that way. But
uh,
the parents have stopped parenting. That's
So
the there. You know what they call it now? They call it gentle parenting. We're not doing that today, sweet baby. Oh no, you need to tap that.
yeah, so the question came from the platform host. What if the solution to solving the school's issue is with students' behavior?
That's a big part of it
It's
because the
a
But what that's
the
gonna do?
well the teachers cannot teach and corral your children. I honestly believe that if
Who said they was teaching?
huh
Who said they was teaching?
well how about this, just consider this fact, Desmond, because I've seen it play out, okay, from the beginning to the end. I've seen a parent tell her children and her grandchildren, when you go to school, act like this, do like this, do this, do this, or do that. And if they tell you something, you call me. Yeah.
She should get punched in her
Okay,
mouth
but
too.
watch this. Then as the time came back around, her attitude totally changed, because guess what? Now she's saying, "Don't do this, don't do that." I know you did it, out of line. I know you colored outside the line because the teacher showed me your whole picture, and now and I can see it. She's actually in the system, being a part of the system. Okay. And as she's doing that, now she sees the repercussions of what she was telling her kids. And so now, and she's seeing the repercussions through other children, and that she has to deal with. You understand what I'm saying? So,
Look,
so now that she has to deal with them, now she's telling her kids to act differently. So I believe
but
a good solution is that every parent that has a child in the school system has to spend 2 weeks in their classroom and see what the
I
teachers have to deal with, because the teachers cannot corral and teach. That's not gonna happen.
2 weeks.
That
think these
Two,
ain't
what you
shit
mean?
people need to
Two
stop
two
having
weeks a
kids.
semester or 2 weeks out of the year?
Well, you have 30 kids. Average it out. You have whether the classrooms are 30 kids per one teacher, right?
Pretty much.
If you're lucky,
Pretty much. That's what's assigned. Now, what shows up is something totally different.
and how many times they put extra kids in the classrooms.
Well, I just feel like some of these parents need to have a taste of what they're sending to the school, you
I
know?
totally agree. I totally agree.
And and once they get a taste of it, they'll start training their kids better at home, because you can't expect your kid to do the right thing when you're not there.
Unless you're teaching intestinal fortitude, but that's neither here nor there because most parents don't even know intestinal fortitude themselves. But the truth
Hmm.
is, no policy in DC, none whatsoever, will save our kids if we do
Not
not
Nope.
one.
create safe, consistent, trusted spaces in our own communities first. You might as well roll it back into our own neighborhoods first, and then roll it back a little bit more into our own block first. I remember my neighbors corralling me as youth, like the 1000 block of where I live.
And
That block made
and
sure.
it got home before you did, and your mama got you
Facts,
again.
facts, facts,
Yes.
facts. We also need to stop outsourcing the solution to people who ain't even been in a classroom in 20 years.
Hmm.
No shade to
You mean the board of education?
them, especially them. And I was just about to say, no shade to our retired teachers and educators. No shade to them. But
Mm-mm.
just like Dustin said, just like Dustin mentioned, we have individuals that are part of the Board of Education on the federal level who have never even set foot or had their child set foot in a public school. So Being that there is a disconnect in that space, I definitely want us to be able to, again, invest in community-based mentorships and youth circles, not just test preps, right? Not just mentoring for math, science, and that's good, but we have to go deeper. We have to go deeper. Fund wellness teams, not just school police. Wellness teams, like, do we realize that we have students and members in our community that suffer from climate anxiety? And what anxiety is every time that it rains, these children feel that they're going to lose everything. It don't have to be a heavy rain like Harvey or Imelda. It's just that thought, right? It's just that anxiety that's there, right? And then also climate anxiety based on the climate that we have set in Beaumont. Murders of peers and family members and individuals who I thought I knew. So before we move on to the second topic, let's see what our chat panel has to say. We need more parents to get involved with their kids. I've been in the school for 29 years, include 29 years in the inclusion department. I totally agree, and people need to stop making excuses. Oh, I have to work.
Well, that ain't an excuse no more. Cause hell, with how the economy is now, both parents and a grandparent got to work to support a
And the
household.
child
Shit,
too, shit.
Mm-mm.
shit, the child got to get a little side gig or Sonic or something.
You better go rake some leaves or something.
Cut some
I'm telling you,
yards.
you
Yeah,
had to kick
yeah. Go
in.
dust in them people house and don't steal nothing.
Sure, go fold some clothes, do something.
State topic number two: the $1 billion voucher check. Who's gonna pay the bill? This is our second topic. Our title: Texas cuts the check for private schools, but public school kids got the receipt. What Abbott's voucher victory really means for Black, Brown, and rural students? Our talking points or your talking points around the table for our listeners and viewers is: this voucher law sounds good until our neighborhood schools close because enrollment drops and funding dries up. Wealthier parents have choice, poor families have chaos, buses, and long lines. Public schools in Texas already lack nurses, counselors, and even clean drinking water. Now they have to compete with schools that don't even take special needs kids or
Mm.
English learners. Teachers are scared, principals are exhausted, but the state gave away the funding lifeline. Mind you, we still trying to figure out how this is going to be funded. They're in the planning phase, so be mindful, everybody. Our roundtable question for this evening or this particular topic is: are we about choice, or are we choosing who get left behind? Our seeds of solutions for this particular topic demand a local public school equity audit in every district. Hold private schools accountable if they are getting public money. No more cherry picking students. And organize regional parent teacher councils with real legislative access and input. Whether you know who our regional office is, I want to say our regional office is Region 5 or something like that. Region 5 or Region 6. I'll get
5.
that info. Is Region 5?
We're 5
Awesome.
here.
Awesome. So Region 5, and I do believe it may be in the energy building downtown, right? That's where it's at now, right? Because I know it
I don't
used to be
remember.
on what you call it.
On Delaware.
Yeah, it used to be on Delaware, but that's our regional office. Reach out to them, get some information to them about your community. And welcome, Perry Busby. We know it's you because all we hear is noise and no face. Let me find out he laughed smooth up out of here. Oh
Showed up
man.
with the ruckus.
I mean, man, I was like, wait, what is that noise? I didn't want to stop reading until I found out. But yeah, I told y'all my crew was coming. I told y'all my crew was coming. So the roundtable question for this particular topic is: are we about choice, or are we choosing who get left out or who get left behind? Um, like I said, Texas just passed a $1 billion school voucher bill. Sounds like freedom of choice, right? But for most families in underserved communities, it's not a choice, it's a setup. Private schools are held to the same standards, are not held to the same standards. They do not have to take kids with special needs or language barriers, and they don't serve every zip code. Meanwhile, public schools already struggling. Mind you, we just went through what is called Vader here in BISD to transition funds from operational to something else to expenditure to be able to expend certain funds. And then um, we have this coming on the national front and then the state front. It's like busing children in the back. But like I said, meanwhile, public schools are struggling. Um, and their funding will get even less support, less hope, and who suffers the most? Black and brown students, working class families, and kids in small towns. It's not just cities like Beaumont that we should be worried about. Silsby, y'all, we should be concerned. Jasper, y'all, we should be concerned.
Viewing,
Almost
Coombs.
every city east of us, we should be
Mhm.
concerned. Every city northeast of us, north of us, we should be concerned. Even HISD, we should be concerned because this voucher deal is, I don't know. I don't know. Is this real choice? Is this really about choice, or controlling who gets future and who don't? That's the question. Are
This
we
ain't
about
nothing but
choice, or are
another
we
tax
choosing?
write off for rich people.
How? You have to explain that though.
Because look at it this way: who kids are in private school currently? Mostly rich people. How many private schools are? Let's just take Beaumont. There's 10 private schools total, not 10 middle school, 10 elementary, 10 high school. No, 10 total. Where all them kids going supposed to go? Because the private schools already got kids in there. So where are all the kids from the public schools supposed to go? Oh, but you taking public school funding and giving it to the private schools who's already full. Because last time I passed by Harmony or Harmon or whatever it's called, that doggone car line was 8 blocks down the road. So those schools are
And that
full. The
that
public schools
also
are
goes
full.
for the Catholic schools too.
Yeah, they're super full. So where are these kids supposed to go now that they got the $10,000? Well, we already know private schools gonna all of a sudden drop tuition to 10 grand to where they can take the whole thing. But that's another thing. But so where
Yeah,
are all
yeah.
the kids supposed to go?
I I'm trying to figure out the same. I'm quite sure. Most parents are trying to figure it out as well. Of not just where my child's going to go, but are they going to be accepted into these private institutions and our Catholic institutions? Are they going to do well to a point to where they'll be able to maintain their um, enrollment there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then third, I think, um, is this voucher going to be enough for me not to worry about us not meeting tuition
Nah, cause now you gotta
or
figure out how the kid gonna get there.
right, right. Because I mean, whether we realize it or not, tuition is the really big issue when it comes to uh private private and charter schools even. Especially private charter schools. Now, I've seen some public charter schools that's receiving sort of kind of like private school curricula. Um, but I don't know. It's a bit I don't know. It's a bit iffy or questionable. I think Miss Cat and Perry is backstage. Tony, I'm not sure if you know it or not. They may be backstage.
But this is
And
my whole thing. Last I checked, the state said if I cut you a check, I basically determine what you teach.
that's what they said.
So now we're gonna get further into you ain't teaching history correct. You teaching history what you want history to be instead of what it was.
Mm, mm.
You still teaching with these altered maps to please the Catholic religion. Because last I
Man, bro.
checked, Asia and all these other continents ain't bigger than Africa, but for some reason on the map, they are.
Mm,
Every place the Catholic Church walked on all of a sudden is larger on the maps.
man. I will say I will say from the looks of it, you know what I'm saying? Just being already in a private or being affiliated with some private school teachers, right? Um, most of them are like, I don't know why they got the hype all over private school because we dealing with some of the same issues that public schools deal with, and some of the issues are even stronger or larger than, you know, um, the issues that they face in public school, like drugs.
Yeah,
Drugs is very prevalent, highly prevalent in many public schools. I mean, I'm sorry, in many private schools. Gangs are more prevalent in private schools. Or territorial individuals are more prevalent in private school
yeah,
settings. You get your individuals that have um, you know wealthy parents, and then you have some not so wealthy parents. And then you have those students who are wealthy, bully the not so wealthy, and that happens often as well as all the time. And
uh-huh.
so, you know, the suicide rate or homicide in private schools is also very high because some students don't feel that they can continue with the standard that comes with private schools or private school settings. So I see my crew trying to get back in here, man, and I definitely I definitely wanted them to be comfortable and intervene in this conversation, especially in this space, because from what I'm aware of, their intellect and their information is just as important as ours, Dustin. So I wish they were.
Mhm.
I don't know what it was. Maybe their internet connections or something. But yeah.
Because my whole thing with public school, with public and private school is okay, cool. You got behavior issues gonna be either way. So in public school, kid act up, you suspend kid, move on. Are you handing out that same suspension if that kid is paying to go there?
Oh, their mother and father or sponsors to the library. or
The hallway
to
is
the
named
new.
after their grandfather or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He was a heavy contributor to our campus, and so, we don't say anything to that lineage, not just that grandchild. That whole lineage doesn't get any reprimand, or you know what I'm saying, for some of the things that they do. I mean, I remember watching How High,
Mm-hmm.
and they went to a school, and the individual whose grandfather was, very prominent on the campus. Um, the that kid felt privileged,
Yep.
felt like he had access to more than what normal student body, um, you know, can do on campus. And mind you, this was depicted as one of the upper echelon PWIs, predominantly white institutions, in
Mm-hmm.
case you didn't know that. For those that didn't know that, but yeah, I mean, like, that's what happens in majority of I'm sorry, private school settings, where you have lineage hallways, or legacy gymnasiums, or the curriculum is something that their individual parent or grandparent or somebody is funding, right? Whether it's in science, whether it's in STEM, whether it's in, arithmetic. Um, Most of those individuals feel privileged. And
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna, you know, like I said, for most private school teachers that I know, they wish we knew the real deal that happens behind closed doors and fenced off campuses.
Oh, we
Um,
know. Cause heck, my wife used to teach in one of them charter schools, and they basically told them you can't fail a kid.
well, I mean, Dustin, think about it. Some districts do the same so that they can get that funding for that 504 and or special needs student.
I mean, no, like this regular ain't no special needs, this regular kid. If the kids sit there all day and don't do no work, you still have to give them a 50.
I, I'm gonna say it again. That's what some districts across the nation does, especially in order to retain the funding behind the ass in the seat. School districts,
Oh,
um,
that attendance is
don't
big
get
money
money, right? Don't get money for a student unless his tail is in the seat.
for at least 3 classes.
At least three. At least three. First and second period. Long as you in there for second period, most of the times they don't even care. You can do whatever you want to do on the campus after second period.
Mm-hmm.
After second period, though, you gotta at least be there for second period. So it's easy to say school, especially here in the state of Texas. It's easy to say school choice when you got transportation, when you got extra cash, when you got personal connections and lineage. But for too many Texans, all this voucher bill did was gut the schools that they were barely surviving already, and to potentially close the schools that um was on their way to being closed anyway.
Yeah, cause
Golly.
they said it would. Who was that? One of the old presidents or somebody way back in the day said they want the citizens of America to be dumb because it's easily to manipulate.
What you mean presidents back in the day? That's the current president.
Oh no, this dummy, he ain't smart enough to say it.
Oh, he said it.
Oh no, he dumb and he talking about himself. But
Hmm.
that's the thing all along.
Bro, all he did was pull the playbook from the same dumb president that you talking about now.
That's
The
all
current
he do. All
president
he do
pulled.
is what they call that in school plagiarism. That's all he do. He plagiarized and make it seem like he did it.
His wife plagiarized too. Topic number
He don't even
three.
change the name on the paper. He still got the other person's name at the top and the
Topic
date.
number three. BISD and the Vanishing Village. Who's still showing up? When the students don't come, the teachers walk out, and the village stops calling. How Beaumont schools became a mirror of our community's breakdown. Our talking or your table talking points is BISD has empty seats, high teacher turnover, and parents disconnected until it's too late. Discipline issues aren't just about the kids. Some of these parents don't pick up the phone, don't show up to meetings, don't follow through, don't chastise when we know that chastisement starts at home, including education. Teachers are making $40,000 a year and getting threatened by students, unsupported by leadership, and burned out long before October come around. Meanwhile, elders and parents say, "Not my child." Church folks say, "That's not my job." And half the block ain't been to a PTA meeting since the first Bush was president. The roundtable question, the roundtable question is the village dead or just too busy doing everything but showing up? Our seeds of solutions for this particular topic is reboot the PTA as a true community engaged organization. Add youth, elders, advocates, not just parents. Start a 1 day, 1 hour volunteer challenge for adults across the entire city to give real time to a school. Rebuild trust through school based healing circles for students and staff and family dealing with trauma, burnout, and generational pain. References for this particular topic, we are referencing BISD and their texasschools.gov. You could definitely check out their district report card, find your school, campus report card. Again, a wealth of information from that site. Again, that's the TEA website. That's texasschools.gov. And Communities in Schools Southeast Texas, which is like I said, Region 5. That website is communitiesinschools.org. Uh, Again, find your particular campus, find your particular district, engage there, find information, learn as much as you possibly can, stay engaged. And again, direct some students also to this website because there is a wealth of knowledge for them as well. Again, that's Communities in Schools and the Texas Education or Texas Board of Education, like Dustin said. Our Board of Education. It sound like lean on me. Let's bring it home. BISD looks around. Um, let's bring it home. We got classrooms that are half empty, and not because there's no students enrolled, but because they are not showing up. Truancy, not only on the state level, but in our district, I'm sorry, in the district level, as well as the state and national level, truancy is terribly out of control. And whether individuals realize it or not, parents, parents, hey, parents, y'all going to jail for your child's truancy. You're paying court fees for your.
Oh well, guess he got cut off too. Look, hey,
Where your host at?
I don't know. I guess everybody to check that.
Oh, there he is.
Everybody done
Okay.
checked that. Oh man, it says reconnecting. I don't know what happened.
Uh,
Okay, so we got teachers quitting mid-year. We got and it's not because they don't care, but because they are tired of being disrespected, underpaid, and left to fend on their own. And let's be honest, too many parents don't answer the phone, don't go to conferences, don't step foot in a school unless it's a fight, a phone, or a Facebook post. Aggravating. The village ain't dead, but too many folks are MIA. Let's talk about it, Dustin. Let's talk real. Or we still a village, or just neighbors who don't want to be bothered unless it hits home.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. Half these people I
Wait,
don't
wait,
like.
wait, wait. Let's think back to when we was in school right fast. Let's just
Uh-huh.
think back to the engagement that we had in school right fast before you answer that question. Think back to the types of engagement that we got from our community and then answer that question.
Cause this is my thing. Do people want to talk about the issue or do they want to actually fix it? Cause it's two different things. People love talking about what's wrong with stuff all the time, but they don't want to do nothing to actually address the issue. Cool. You got parents that ain't worth a damn at school. We knew that when they before they became parents. And now they parents and somebody helped them have a child and here they are not doing nothing. That's understandable, but cool. Here's one of the biggest issues I see. If you look around schools from something I know from when I was in school to now, count the male teachers. And while you counting them, count the black male teachers. Because it might be a mental thing, but kids behave different when there's a male standing there. Even if the male is just next door, just the fact that you can hear his voice from time to time, they behave different. I don't know the science to it, but it's something about the vibration of a male voice get kids to tighten up a little bit. But they done pretty much ran them out of school.
Hmm,
Cause
hmm.
I don't know how many campuses I done went to for whatever my kids had going on. I'm sitting there looking around. It might be 95% female teachers.
It's
And
that's about right.
and
That
the
sounds
five
about
percent
right.
is probably the coaches.
Yeah.
And you might have one random math teacher.
Or they got him in the disciplinary space.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Dean of student discipline or something? And don't discipline nobody.
Nope. He just there to walk around and hey, hey, hey. He the hey man. He walk around the hall. Hey, hey.
Mr. Hay. You stupid because that's what the students used to call somebody that that was on our campus like that. Mr. Hay.
Mr.
All
Hey.
he say is, "Hey,
That's all he
hey,
say. Hey,
you
hey.
kids get on." And they was like, it was like they don't give us nothing but just, hey, you know better than that. No, I don't. My mama didn't tell me better. My dad
What
ain't telling me better. My grandmother ain't telling me better. Nobody's telling me better.
so the kid
You
actually
want us
don't
to do
know.
better with I'm literally they do not know, bro. They do not know. And for us to believe that just because we send them to school or send them to engage in community that they know, we failing not only them but ourselves. We can't depend on Dr. Look, we can no longer depend on Dr. Sprott 100%. I'm and well professional. 100% professional. we can no longer expect him to do the surgeries that he used to do. He done got older, y'all. But are we like, do we have an institution that exposes that to children as an, as a outside of the campus curricula or outside of the campus extracurricular?
No,
Where are we when it comes to educating children outside of the four walls and the test?
they
And
tore
and
them down to build apartments,
or just throw it down.
parking lot. Because that's what the YMCA used to be. The little centers at the parks, the recreation centers. That's what they used to be. Come in, knock out a little homework. If you need help, somebody there help you with it. And outside of that, just do kid stuff. But those don't exist no more. So you got to run the streets with a little riffraff in them and end up getting arrested because he decided to do something stupid. So now both of y'all locked up.
So in case y'all didn't know, I am a kid of a PK, and my my PD just came up in here and was like, "I heard preacher dad." By the way, in
Mm-hmm.
case y'all didn't know what PD stand for, that's my preacher dad. So uh, my preacher daddy say, "You're absolutely correct for that season." Dr. Sprott was due for his season, and how it's incumbent on us to move within our season. But like we've been saying on this particular show for a while now, especially since we came back to the table, uh we're not reaching back to individuals like talking about. We're not exposing these spaces that once were predominantly populated in Negro communities by Negroes, whether they were educators or business owners. I heard Dustin say about, the male teachers that we had. I remember Coach Sweat. I remember Coach White. I remember Coach Lewis. I remember Baby Lewis. I remember, you know what I'm saying? I remember Mr. Grisby. I remember male teachers, right? But after a while, that mindset, that leadership, that male role model in the classroom kind of slipped. And I'm glad Perry hopped back on, especially I think he hopped back on specifically for this topic. Nah, let me stop. But Perry, give me something toward our round table question. Um, is the village dead or just too busy doing everything but showing up? Of course, my colloquial is, are we still a village or just neighbors who don't want to be bothered unless it hits our doorstep?
Mm. Man, let me just say it. I was listening uh, this time because, and let me just tell you how um, I am just proud of you and Dustin carrying this show tonight and how profound it is just to have two black men as father types to this generation. There is so much that goes on between as I say, just you guys being young leaders in this time and people not understanding all of the things that you have to face, the gatekeepers, the slow steppers, the old time pimps, and everything. And Um, I'm really serious. I was reminded of the old African proverb that says, "Only fools argue while the hut is on fire," and our hut is on fire. It's on fire, and we playing, and we engaging in some foolish arguments. When to hear you guys talk about the, just the depth of not just saying what a problem is, but pointing out. There's nothing more profound than Dustin, and you being able to count your black male teachers. I have so many. I mean, sometimes I forget, and we don't understand just how just. Chris, you and I were talking today. We look at elections in snapshots, but elections are really trends, like life.
Bro, like the stock market.
Right.
You,
And
you
we
gotta
getting
follow them
caught in these
trends.
foolish games. You
Yeah,
have to follow
yeah.
it. And it has happened, just as they say, about boiling the frog. I mean, you just put them in there and just let it just heat up. And that is what and that is what we see to some degree, whether we want to accept it or not.
Yeah.
And I think that it's just in some ways when we see, as you say, and I've heard from many teachers, just it we've lost learning because education been long gone.
Long gone.
So if we
Long gone,
pass
period.
education and we're not at learning, then are we just at babysitting? What are we?
Twiddling of thumbs, bro. And that's and it doesn't, it's almost to a point to where it doesn't matter who's still getting this work, right? Because the
Mm-mm.
absence of the majority overshadows. And y'all see like these little games that they have on some social medias. You probably scroll through YouTube or whatever, and then there is this, you gather this to build that, and then as you build this stacks up, and then you build something else to bring that down, but then you're still constantly building and this stacks up, so you have to expand and then expand because this is still accumulating. um that
And Chris, not to
tension from the
interrupt you.
60s
Not-
has built. Go ahead.
yeah, and not to interrupt you. Please don't let this conversation um cause you to think that we're saying that there are none, because there are some. And I think a lot of times when we get into talking about these, the first thing people want to say, "Oh, well, no, there
Well,
is so
i'm
and
i'm
so,"
doing it,
as
I'm doing
if
it, yeah.
right, as if that one offsets the other. And if we just really, if you peel away, they'll tell you what they have to do just to get the results that they're getting. And they're
They
not
get
trying to,
right.
I understand that.
and and I agree, this is something that is not or should not be mm, um judged, measured, or given merit based on the engagement of the few. This is something that we need to definitely gauge and find merit or the lack of, because the masses aren't there. And we can't continue to expect and or wait for the results of one somebody when the results of many shows the neglect that we're passing on from generation to generation, from schools to businesses, from just basic life skills or careers, right? I don't know, y'all. I'm a little nervous when I look at the city that is known to educate Negroes in the state of Texas before Negroes could be educated anywhere in the state of Texas. I'm looking at a city whose prominent education structure was not only mimicked, but thrust throughout almost the entire South, right? I'm looking at the Pipkin School, the South End School, the North End School. I'm looking at legacy of educating Negroes in Beaumont, Texas. I mean, you could not be in Louisiana without having to come to Beaumont, Texas as a Negro to be educated. That's little school to big school. And here it is, the legacy that's been planted, that the seeds that were here, the germinated seeds that were here, or I'm 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 really not I'm not seeing the pride in that, y'all. I'm not seeing how we go from having college prep in some schools or in all schools across the district to not having any college insight, let alone college days or, you know, college trips where we're going to a college and we're not even seniors in high school. We wait too late to expose that broad aspect of education and other careers. We wait till they're seniors in high school. By then, we done lost them if they ain't dead yet, y'all. I remember a BISD where I was exposed even at the AT&T building, which is now tore down, but I was exposed to what goes on in them walls in elementary and middle school. Now you can't get that. You can't even you can't even get the exposure that's needed on the city side when it comes to bolstering their employment. Uh, are they always at job fairs? No. Are they always in doing interns for high school students? No. Education is beyond the four walls of those classrooms. And if we as community don't expose those individuals just as much as the legacy of Dr. Charlton and Dr. Pollard and Mr. Pipkin or Reverend Pipkin, as they established in this space, as well, look, as well as Mr. Abear, aka Hebert. Because y'all know I'm from Louisiana. We call them A-Bears and they A-Bears. Even out here too, they A-Bears. And if you're mad because I said A-Bear, meet me outside. I'm in the 100 block of Deuce said. The 1,000 block of Deuce said. Meet me outside. Because I said what I said. Even in the A-Bear legacy of education, we have faltered there greatly here in the city of Beaumont. Again, when I say a powerhouse in educating Negroes, all right. So I think we're gonna close that topic, and then we'll offer some final statements. But we do not need another slogan. We need grown folks to show up. We need students to feel safe, supported, and seen. And we need to stop pretending BISD can fix everything on its own, especially if we as community are not at the table, the classroom, the PTA meeting, the after the school meeting, if we are not showing them or trying to expose them on field trips to spaces. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, move aside and let somebody else do it because and then I don't even know. No, don't shut up and don't move aside. Come here and let us show you what's going on. Let us show you what to do so you know how to move in this space. Don't step off to the side. Come your ass up in here and join the crew because this is not just your child. This is our children. And until we realize that we're going to be in this same space. We're going to wonder what's wrong with our kids. We're going to wonder why we can't reach our kids. We're going to wonder why we're going to Houston for alleged heightened medical services and everything else. How is it that we raise children to grow up here in Beaumont, transition to Houston to become better citizens? Make that make sense. Dustin, or Perry, yeah. Give us your give us your final word, because I done got aggravated. Because y'all y'all have to understand the space that I'm always in. If you don't see me in my community, tip back to some of these schools. If you don't see me in the neighborhood, tip back to some of these schools. I am in our future. I am giving at least some hope to elders, seniors, other young people, parents, even some of the young people that, man, y'all, yeah, Dustin, give us something for the rest of the week, bro.
All right, look, you need something for your kids to do. We might not have YMCA's and Salvation Armies and all that good jazz out anymore. But what we got in Beaumont? About 7, 8 libraries. Go to the
If they
library.
don't close them.
To That's another story. Go to the libraries on the first of the month, and they have a little piece of paper every first of the month of what every library is doing. Each one of them had their own program, so you don't go one think they're gonna be at all. Each one of them has their own programs that they run throughout the month. You can bring your kids there. They can learn some stuff. They can learn to use computers. They can get us book clubs. They even got a little toy section. They can just play with toys. There's every one of the libraries in Beaumont has that. Go there, get your kid a library card so they can bring books home, bring some movies. I think they even got some video games at certain ones. Use the library as resources because what used to be there ain't there no more. But I think on some days it's just movie day at the library. Go there, watch a kid movie, watch some old classical black and white. Just let your kids be occupied for a while, and after the parent gone off in the corner, sit in one of them little comfy chairs, take a nap if you need to. Use your libraries. You're paying for them through your taxes. You might as well get to use them. Show up every first of the month, get that printout, see what they doing, and go and take advantage. It's free stuff. Go and knock yourself out with that.
Yeah, yeah. What do you know anything about the free stuff that's coming for the summer through BISD, Dustin?
The only thing I know is the swimming stuff, but I probably have to look because I know BISD always have stuff during the summer with the
Yeah,
food
BISD, yeah, and the
and the
city of Beaumont
activities.
as well normally
Mhm.
has some things going on. So, yes, by all means, make sure you tune into your public libraries and your public school system, as well as your public city to see what they have coming about for the summertime. Again, we have seniors that are getting ready to graduate. Congratulations to all seniors. Perry, give
Mhm.
us something for the rest of the week, man.
Uh, man, like I say, this has just been a wonderful evening to just listen to you brothers um, articulate your experience, uh, identify solutions, and speak toward the future. I mean that you know we don't know how inspiring that is to just have someone speak something into you greater than what you are. And I know
Hmm.
sometimes, a lot of times, it sounds a little foolish, but for some people, for many of our kids are starved of hearing anything inspiring into their life. And so just again, after looking at this election, guys, it's really just time that we roll up our sleeves, come together, um, and just really assess where we are. I mean, for our children, our children are depending on us to come together. Um, Not trying to do a selfless plug, but tomorrow we're going to do a post analysis of this election, and not just look at the election, but look at our communities as it relates to our elections.
You
And
talking
we're
about this
going to
last
look at
election
this,
or past
this last
elections?
election,
Oh,
past elections.
oh,
Like I
oh,
say, elections, like I say, elections are not a snapshot. They are a trend.
right. Absolutely.
And we're gonna look at this election as it relates to the previous elections and where we're going, because like in all things, life is about perspective. And it's amazing how, if you look at a downward trend forward, you can see the dips and curves, but if you look at the same trend from the top view, it looks like a straight line.
Mm.
And we have too many people going through elections thinking that we just going in a straight line and we losing in each at each venture. And so we want to take a look at that. And like I say, I mean, just with the recent events, this conversation about where our children are, I'm just not really giving myself up to trying to debate. I want a dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to
I
educate
agree.
because, as you said, Chris, as you eloquently said, I mean, our community is a birthplace of education, and that birthplace has a long umbilical cord that extends outside of Texas, as you say, along the South, and it has produced many fruit. And I'm just not willing to give up that we are battling. Listen to young men like yourselves gives me hope. And so join us tomorrow. We're gonna look at some numbers. We're gonna be a little nerdy because hey, all y'all like to hang out with little nerds every now and then. Have a little fun, learn something. So
Hey man, I heard Nerds got the best coffee anyway. You heard me.
got the
I heard they
best.
got the
So come
best
hang out
coffee.
with us, learn a little something, and we're gonna put this to some actionable use. So I'm gonna leave you with
Absolutely.
that. It's just time to roll up our sleeves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wish Dr. Campbell was definitely on. Like Perry mentioned, I try to reach out to my crew throughout the week so that I could develop a well-rounded full course meal at the round table. And we like to do like some of the, foreign countries, spin the table and you start eating out of something totally different. But education isn't just what happens in a classroom, you all. It's how we prepare the next generation to survive, um, to think, to lead, and to thrive, more so than anything, to sustain and thrive. But right now in our city and our state and our nation, we're heading um we're handing our youth and our future a broken system that comes with broken buildings, broken promises. Lack of accountability isn't just for administrators, or accountability, period, isn't just for administrators. It's for us all, parents, coaches, elders, seniors, because we got them identified, pastors, and not these simping preachers that we have in some of our communities. And you take it how you want. Neighbors, I can't understand how is it that. Never mind, I'm not gonna bash nobody, because if we keep ignoring this crisis, we're not failing just schools. We're failing the future. We're failing ourselves. And we're failing to continue the legacies and lineages that were set before we even got here. As I stated earlier in this show, I have the privilege of living in the epicenter of Negro education here in the state of Texas. And it's, something exploited, positively exploited across this country, across this world, where individuals will say, "Oh, I've heard about the Charlton Pollard neighborhood," or "I've heard about the Charlton Pollard High School," or "I've heard about Abear High School," where individuals would come from across the globe to watch us play football and or any other sport, including academic decathlons, which we do not have here anymore. We do not have debate sessions in this area anymore. Mind you, Rice and the Great Debaters, that movie is a direct connection to the Charlton Pollard and the A-Bear school system here in Beaumont, Texas. Educators from Texas Southern University, Houston Tillotson University, Texas A&M, uh, Southern University, Prairie View A&M, oh my God, Grambling State University, Tuskegee, all of those individuals got a piece of some education from the Charlton Pollard area, from the Abear area, or those eras, like my dad said, those seasons. Now, if we cannot cultivate and continue to produce those trees that birth that fruit, hew it down, Beaumont, and stop playing the funk, because these kids, they see it and they coming for it. I promise you, either you stand up today or they're going to run over you tomorrow. And as always, stay prayed up, stay prayed up, and stay prayed up. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless. Have a good night.
God bless. Enjoyed that one.
Good night, Nancy.
Man, you know she
Hey,
can
I
get
promise I
loud.
miss her in the background. I knew she was down for a few days. I knew it, man. Man, it's good
Yeah,
to hear
she
my
get
sister
back
back
to
in
it
the
too. So
background,
she all
man.
right.
That was part of the show.
Chris talking about you.
Don't say it like that. Don't say it like that. Y'all have a good night, y'all. God bless.
All right.